Hey everybody, I'm Mike and I'm with.
Deb Sikes.
Hey, and so we're super excited to have you back. And for a lot of you, you know that we took a little bit of a break because we've been working on a lot of different initiatives, including launching our podcast for this because we want to make this information known nationally. And so super excited that that's off and running, and we'll post this episode, this recording onto it as well. But today's episode is super special. And as you can see, there's just two people on screen right now. And that's because our special guest today is the one and only Deb Sikes. And so right now we're recording this November 2nd, 2023. And we're right in the middle of a very, very busy season for Deb and how she serves our senior community. And that's in the way of Medicare. Open enrollment started on October 15th. It goes until December 7th. And thank you for that. And so, as you can imagine, Deb is right in the middle of it all. But we want to let you know that she's never too busy for a member of our tribe. And if you're watching this episode, whether it's today or down the road, you're automatically a bona fide member of our tribe. And we want to serve you in any way that we can, whether it's something that we can offer and things that we specialize in, or someone that we know, which is the purpose of this platform. So with that said, I want everyone to get to know Deb, your Medicare expert. And Deb, one of the questions that I had for you is very simple. What made you want to become a Medicare professional?
Well, it's not one of those things that you wake up in the morning and say, "Oh my goodness, I want to do Medicare." Not hardly. My path has always been in benefits, and during the course of time in the corporate world, after 30 some years, that kind of reached its expiration date, so to speak. And when that did happen, a very good friend of mine, Constance Lemire, owner of EBX and president, reached out and asked me if I wouldn't like to head up the senior division. And in that interim, I had also taken care of my mother for 9 years and gotten to know so many wonderful elderly people. And there were many questions, many times that came up about Medicare. And I thought, this is my calling. So, long story short, fast forward, here I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know that myself and a lot of the people in my circle have referred a lot of business to you, and you have raving reviews, my friend. So great job with that. And thank you for all that you do for our senior community. And paying it forward to a senior or maybe a friend of a senior out there. Let me just ask you this. What are some common questions that you get within the world of Medicare?
Well, I think one of the most common questions I get asked is, okay, I'm turning 65. What do I do? I need Medicare. And it can be like going through the Python. It's very long and winding, and it can consume you if you don't know how to go about it. So that's one of the most common questions. And essentially, the answer to that is you first have to enroll in Part A and Part B, and that's step one. And that's not necessarily a tedious process. It's just knowing the right direction to go to get that done. So that's one of the most common questions. Some of the other questions are, why do I need a Part D? I don't take any medications. Well, it's really important that you sign up for Part D when you enroll in Medicare and when you become eligible, regardless of whether it's a special election period, your birthday, whatever the case may be. You don't want to be penalized later on. So that's another common arena that gets, approached and kind of missed by some. So that's an important thing to keep in your back pocket, and those seniors as well, is that just because you're on Tylenol doesn't mean you don't need Part D. So I would say those are two common questions. There are so many others that come down the road. I learned something new every day with Medicare, without a doubt. it's one of those that it's a never ending circle of knowledge. And I think what makes it so interesting and hard, if you will, is the rules are always changing.
Absolutely, Deb. And I've heard you speak in various places. I've been at numerous presentations that you've made out there, and there's so many questions that get asked. I know you just hit on a couple of popular ones, but there's so many questions out there. And if someone wants to ask a question specific to their situation, or maybe a loved one that is about to turn 65 or already 65, how can they get in touch with you? That way they can ask specific questions. Is it best to call you, text you, email you? What do you prefer?
Well, it's all good, whether it's a text, actually not a text, because it's got to be initiated through a call by them to me. Once that bond has, been made, whether it's through an email, through calling my Medicare phone number, then we can communicate via text. We can, set up emails going back and forth. But initial contact has to be made by the client to the broker. So anything but text the first go around.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I encourage people to reach out to Deb if you have any questions whatsoever. If she doesn't have the answer, which is rare, she can find someone that does. And Deb, if you could just let people know what number they can call to take that first step with you.
Well, that number, oh, Mike, you would catch me off guard with that one. Hang on one second. Let me pull it up because that one I don't have memorized.
No.
The number for direct Medicare to me is 623-323-8909. And that goes through the Medicare Center. Two last things that I will mention of real importance, that if someone had to really wrap their arms around Medicare in a Reader's Digest form at a 10,000 foot view, it would be to know when your enrollment periods are and to know what your choices are. And that's why this time of year is so incredibly important, because there can be evaluations made and different choices taken, and a path that may be more beneficial going forward into 2024.
Awesome, Deb. Well, again, I can't thank you enough for all that you're doing for our senior community and just how we're educating our communities. And for those that are listening to this episode and watching this recording, you could just already tell that this is Deb's heart to help people in this space. And the one thing, and we'll end with this, the one thing I hear most from a lot of people that I've worked with Deb is that she makes it easy, that it was a lot easier than what they thought it could be. But by that same token, I've heard other agents, other representatives that didn't make it so easy. So again, once they're not all made the same, and Deb is someone that I know, love, and trust. And so, yeah, feel free to reach out to her. But more importantly, on top of all of that, stay in touch with us with our platform. Let us know what you want to see and hear more of. Deb does a phenomenal job with interviews. So not only is she a Medicare expert, making magic happen for a lot of people 65 and older, but then she's also an awesome interviewer and bringing so many cool guests onto this platform. So Deb, thank you also for doing that as well.
Thank you, my video partner. It's always a pleasure to work with you, and thank you for hosting this afternoon.
Absolutely. So until next time, everybody, have a fantastic day and God bless.
Always.